on, but Cyclone Coupling look more or less settled.
So I'm curious about Reaper because Reaper's still in an interesting place as well where, okay, some Overwatch League teams have been running Reaper, you give them that, but the success has been kind of middling. You don't feel too confident about it. Reaper still just has a problem of walking in, taking a bunch of damage, shifting out, and then hiding behind a corner until your shift comes back online. That's generally the Reaper gameplay.
I also like how when he repositions afterwards, he says, like he just took a nice sip of tea. Fallen, gonna live up to his namesake here if he's not careful, is able to pull back. That Immortality field did not really profit that much. However, now Global Esports have pushed in a bit too far. Rather than just taking the ground, they are at least gonna get the point, but Cyclone Company getting a storm right on here and take it straight off them.
Yeah, it's not gonna be much of a stall happening from Global Esports. They're gonna cap a fat 8%, and then Cyclone Coupling getting ready for that next defense. Recall already sitting on the defense or the amplification matrix. Now you got me going as well. Thank you very much.
Anytime, bud.
And Faith is on the loose here, as you kind of would expect, because that has been his hero for most of the season. And again, the question is, does he play any Batista today?
I'd like to see how Global Esports choose to reapproach this one, where they're going to start by trying to just knock everybody into Little Rax's line of fire as one way to try and get something out of the Reaper, but unfortunately, Cyclone Coupling don't fall prey to the damage and have now started to very solidly recover. The Transcendence certainly helps, as did the Immortality Field. Or is it a Matrix? And they're going to handily win that fight.
And you're going to see now the big part of this push for Global Esports, where Lil Rax finally does have a Death Blossom nearly online. A big part of that not being useful in the last patch was because Brigitte existed. You would use your Death Blossom, instantly get stunned, and it would get cancelled. You are, however, still playing up against a team that can May wall you off, that can use a hook to cancel your Death Blossom as well. So I think that Lil Rax is still going to be in a decent amount of trouble. Shift already being used here, so that's a problem.
Oh dear, that's at least a 1-for-1 though. That amplification matrix, and that is the correct matrix, is really causing Global Esports a lot of trouble on this approach. They are down overall in terms of members. They've actually decided they're going to try back off and lick their wounds instead.
It's going to be 70% over to Cyclone Coupling though, so by the time that Global Esports do want to push, they could be looking at their final engagement, the final attempt as they round the bend to 80% for the opposing team. If Global Esports don't win this fight, it's going to be 100-0.
They're going to have to find some way to unlock Little Rax here. That is the pick they've got the least value out of. Finally getting onto the point though, now the Death Blossom out. Does get some good damage onto these members. Unfortunately, it still trades though, and that's the thing. It hasn't been that real knockout fight that Global Esports were wanting. They'll get the point at least, but Cyclone Coupling not losing too much in the end, just back off so that they can reaggress in a moment.
And MG just wasn't available to get that hook in there. You see the Ice Wall didn't quite find the right angle, didn't come online in Cyclone Coupling. All right, got to back out of that one. 95%, still a decent lead. Lee Chang soon on the Widowmaker, cancel, get a pick as they walk in. Getting an instant 6v5 is going to allow you a pretty easy push.
I think it's Cyclone Coupling going to be able to sort of wander up and dump a Blizzard on this point. In fact, TOT already looking to do that. Is wary of the Diva. Oh,
is that a cancel?
That is a cancel. That is so huge. And now TOT just gets to throw his out for free, and that's already with that self-destruct from Xenofly getting really nothing done aside from removing the Immortality Field. And now Cyclone Coupling in possession of the point as Global Esports desperately try to dive back on it, see if they can pull this fight back from the brink, but they will not be able to do so. Cyclone Coupling poised to pick up our first point of Nepal.
I think Global Esports have been, unfortunately, a little bit slow on the mark here. 45% is going to be decent for them, but as Lil Rax hops off that point, tries to shadow step away, Cyclone Coupling going to claim 100 to 45. You can see, even from that first engagement, it was difficult. Global Esports couldn't find any footing. Halt hook was a little too strong. Cyclone Coupling able to find those picks, and then once they were in the defensive position on the point itself, Orisa Hog is exactly the type of composition that's going to get a lot of value when you're just sitting on that point. Global Esports now, attempt number 2, round number 2, Kim Gute on the Sombra, Lil Rax on the Hanzo.
All right, let's see how this one goes for Global Esports. They do want to sort of pull this one back a little. That first half, first map rather, unfortunately, not really all that competitive in the long run. Cyclone Coupling easily getting the better of most fights. So, can Global Esports do better on these picks?
And so far, Global Esports has not really wanted to play Orisa Hog, and you'll say, okay, it's control. You don't really have to go there just yet. Dive is still valuable. They are going to put faith in the Batiste now. Cyclone Coupling going to be running very much a similar composition to what we saw last time.
We'll have to see if Cyclone Coupling can still win, because they do have no faith. Get it? It's already a bit of a tight spot here for Global Esports, eating a fair chunk of damage, and Cyclone Coupling just with better positioning around the point in general should be able to start taking possession as it unlocks, and with those kills coming through as well, no trouble.
Cyclone Coupling, no more contest from the GE side of things, so as mentioned, that's just going to be a pretty easy cap for them, recall on 50%, and this is very much like I guess what we see from Ana players, where on the previous patch, Ana would get an ultimate very quickly. We see the Nano Boost come through. This could actually be a pick for Lee Chang soon if Luke's not too careful. But Recall and Batiste players in general are now getting these ultimates up very quick.
It's a really nice flank actually by Kim Yute. That should be a big opening, because Luke's also been able to get Lee Chang soon to slip and regroup with the team now getting aggressive. MG down. Trade with Xenofly, but it's still a favorable number situation for Global Esports. This is a little bit of a tight spot for Luke to be in, but he's still not quite gone down impressively. Literax, however, has these trades coming back and forth.
Oh, that immortality is so good.
That's really gross here. Faith staying alive now and getting onto the point is Global Esports. Frozen for now, but
I'll see if Faith can actually survive here, because he does have an ultimate available as Kim Yute goes down. EMP would have been pretty useful, despite Global Esports capping now. They have to hold on to this cap. Cyclone Coupling are still in position to be able to fight.
You'd like to think Global Esports have the ultimates to do it, though. Especially with that Blizzard from TOT getting thrown in super late after the cap and not getting anything done. That's fallen already down with the bump, and that was also having placed out the supercharger. That's a really big loss here for Cyclone Coupling.
Let's see if Cyclone Coupling can maybe make use of it from the other members, but currently they're locked up and having to dodge away from the Dragon Strike. Luke and Xenofly are going to get taken down, so maybe Cyclone Coupling can use it as advantage walking in.
As the tank run effectively gone. Nice kill on MG, though, too quickly for him to take a breather about it, and now the amplification matrix as well means that Cyclone Coupling do have to give pause here. They can't quite capitalize on that window where Luke and Xenofly were out of the picture, because Xenofly is now going to get back in the mech.
And this time around, Global Esports don't have a huge deficit to climb back from. In fact, they've already overtaken Cyclone Coupling's own percentage point on that cap itself. Cyclone Coupling trying to hold on to this one. They have members on the cap.
You get the sense that they were looking to commit an EMP. That's one kill early onto Xeon Flux, who had a Transcendence. That's a really nice pickup for Lee Chang soon. Now the EMP out, but they've already lost Xenofly's mech, and Luke's frozen. They are struggling to follow up on this ultimate. In fact, all they've done so far is knocked out the immortality field. No kills yet in favor of Global Esports, who are struggling to stay alive. Xenofly demech'd. Lee Chang soon and MG finally getting picked up, though, so Global Esports might still be able to get this one. Indeed, they will, and that was looking really dire for a fair while for them.
And that's a huge deal, because now they've doubled the percentage cap that Cyclone Coupling have. We're getting a little bit desperate, making some last-minute changes. Lee Chang on the Tracer fallen on a Winston. They want to dive on top of this one. They know they've only got a short window to get in before it's all over.
Nice harass from Kim Yute. It just slows down the approach. The hack on the Lucio as well. It's just making everything harder. Early catch on Fallen. He had to dive forward to touch the point. Now they're going to be trying to get on the point through the
too many members down.
Dragon Strike, and they just can't. You saw Recall dive for it to extend the overtime. Lands directly on top of a mine, immediately dies, and that's Global Esports evening up the score on the poll.
And that's even that fight in the middle there, when you see Global Esports rounding the bin around 40, hitting towards 50% for themselves. Cyclone Company are in position to really fight this one through. They have some ultimates available, and that fight goes for so long. When the dust settles, Global Esports is sitting on 80%. Cyclone Company finally make a few changes. Again, knowing that it's going to be the last fight they have, kind of get a bit of time wasted by Lee Chang soon, or rather Kim Kyu-chae during that rotation. Couldn't quite get enough members on the point itself, couldn't find the trades, doesn't have ultimates, obviously. Now it's going to be 1-1 on the score line for rounds taken, and on Village now. Lorax looking like he wants to go back on the Reaper, and I would suppose will be changing very quickly once he sees that TOT is running a fire.
I would imagine so. It's also curious. I mean, obviously the Reaper has worked for them in the past, but didn't work for them earlier in this match. He can at least hunker down on the point. They have got the early rotation to the point, but you feel like that party's going to end before too long.
Who's he going to fight here? Because Cyclone Company can just kind of poke them out here. As you can see, Faith already down. That's already a 6v5. There's no resist on Global Esports. You've got one healer now. Xeon Flux desperately needs a coalescence.
I mean, Luke may find sleep, but he trades his own life for it, so it's still not even any kind of recovery. And no matter how low Lee Chang Soon has got, he's never quite been finished off. And Now we're just a casual res on sleep anyway. Global Esports will again get some early percentage points. They're actually going to come back in with a coalescence here. They want to prevent Cyclone coupling from aggressing the point.
And that's the ultimate you really need to see, but it is going to get countered pretty quickly. TOT finds a kill. Lil Rex went down in the middle there as well. Okay, TOT did die. However, Cyclone coupling have so many players to work with. Global Esports just might not be able to contest.
And look, unlike Shrine, they do at least get more percentage on that opening bit, but they are still inevitably going to lose the fight and lose the point, and here now come the swaps.
And you'll see that the only time they were really relevant in the fight is when Coalescence was available. Lil Rex now is going to be going on to the McCree, which again is going to be one of those other heroes that has a lot of current impact on this particular patch. Cyclone coupling still going to be running roughly the same thing here on their defense.
I do like this. Gives them a lot of ways to enable Lil Rex. He should be able to get good pressure on to TOT, but if he doesn't, then TOT will just continue to find big value. Now they're looking to push right on into the point. They'll all survive the rotation.
Big
so
shots.
far. Nice catch onto TOT. Recall does have res, but it's going to be a bit of a tough one to find, and the pressure is coming in from Global Esports. It's going to be the kill coming through onto Kim Yute, but honestly, the damage has already been done. So, good percentage accumulation for Cyclone coupling, but Global Esports have successfully reacted to the team comp, and now they're going to regain possession of the point.
And Lil Rex walks onto the point, and his impact is immediately felt. You can see the double tap on the TOT. Faith collects that kill, doesn't even give an assist credit over to Lil Rex, sad face. And Global Esports, despite that, you are going to see a Deadeye already up and available for Lil Rex. Cyclone coupling immediately hopping off of that fire. TOT now on the mate instead, looking for their next push, and they really haven't gotten enough point percentage just yet. 50%? That's already been capped out like Global Esports as well.
Oh man, Lil Rex absolutely saved there, and with that, because they actually had the wall up, he goes, you know what, I'll just stand here and fight. They've certainly brought peace to that fight by way of winning it.
And I don't think you were expecting the Deadeye this early if you're Cyclone coupling, because that was one fight, one life for Lil Rex. You're already seeing so much value out of this particular pick. 70% now, it's 20 ahead. Cyclone coupling still kind of relying on, they want to rely on this Halt Hook combo to do something, but as we know, look, this is a tough composition to be pushing in with.
Even if you sort of get that golden one where you fight Lil Rex, you're still going to fight through this team. They're still going to make this exact same play. The May wall down, this time with the supercharger. There's no way Fallen survives it. Now they want to keep getting aggressive, or at least keep kettling Cyclone coupling in these confined spaces. Now TOT in trouble. Does trade off with Xeon Flux though.
That's the worst time to be losing a player, because you're at 98%. Somebody does have to contest the point.
MG is frozen and stuck on the other side of the wall as the rest of the team. So Global Esports going to casually hold on to the point as it ticks over 99%. Look, you got to say, the Reaper didn't work. They weren't able to make that work in various situations. But once they were off that, when they were playing other things, Global Esports definitely looked like the better of the two teams.
And I just don't think we're in a meta where teams want to be brawling hardcore. Maybe one team does. If you are the team playing Reaper, you're saying, yeah, let's take this fight. Let's pretend we're playing 3-3 goats again, but with 2-2-2. The other team just says, we're playing Orisa Hog. We're going to wait for Halt Hook combos. We're going to play for range here. We're going to play for May Ice Wall harassment with, you know, the right-click icicles as well. We don't want to just brawl you on the point. And so Lil Rex is getting very little done on the Reaper, but straight away goes onto the McCree, pops down TOT, changes over to the May. And then Cyclone coupling take a long time to get anything done. They just don't even really get out of spawn. When I say spawn, I extend that to the choke points that enter the point itself. And they never kind of opened themselves up to getting to the main section of the map ever again. They were just stuck in the doorways. They, you know, had so many pushes fail there. And it was like 50% and 50%. Suddenly it was 70%, then 90%. You lose a member, you're waiting for respawns, you're trying to get a resurrection there. May Wall's blocking your entrance now. Nobody touches the point, and it's all over.
And it just feels like at the end of that, especially there on Village, Global Esports just kind of played the map and played the composition better, right? Because they were running relatively similar things in terms of the area control. Like, if anything, you've got that Halt Hook option on the side of on the side of Cyclone coupling as well. But like you saw the May walls that Global Esports were getting, they were extremely high value. They were isolating a lot of members that they were able to pick off. They had the power to do so. And it's not just on the McCree, it's how they supported the McCree. When we saw the McCree get hooked was a great example. The Biotic Grenade and Sound Barrier were instantly used because they go, at that point, we can actually just take the fight. We've still got the May wall there. This is worth using just to save this one member. And on the whole, it felt like Global Esports just had a better understanding of what was possible with their team composition and actually utilizing all those different tools in the toolbox.
Sorry, excuse me.
You're excused.
Just need a quick moment here.
Oh, hey, no problem.
I may even need a drink pretty soon.
There you go. Sharing is scary, folks. There we go.
I was trying to say something about May, but I feel like I got an ice wall up in my throat.
I was going to say.
I'm really impressed by May's position in the current meta because May hasn't really had any changes recently. She hasn't had anything where you could say, okay, this really put May in the meta, or this has been a big change for May that really pushes her forward. However, when you consider that Orisa Hog is a big part of where we're currently at in this particular game, big part of what you were saying as well, the space control, and then you start to look at how that was being applied. Specifically, okay, if you're a team that's still trying to push with the Orisa Hog, you don't have the point control, you're pushing into a May, the May wall blocks you out. You can see straight away. I believe it was Fallen that got caught out towards the end as well on a few of the failed pushes for Cyclone coupling where, you know, Fallen on one of those, he walks out, gets walled off straight away from the May, and then doesn't have anywhere to go, gets picked out, and that's a kill for your team. So May's found herself into a 2-2-2 meta where previously May wasn't really a relevant hero, and now, based on the fact that I think it's partly due to Orisa Hog being a predominant tank duo, that May has also come into the mix saying, this is how we can handle Orisa Hog, but also, this is how we can pair with Orisa Hog as well to supplement that.
And that's the thing that's really cool about it, right? Like, that's where you get those sort of really neat compositions. Another thing that's curious is just with the way the May freeze works as well. Those are two of, like, the more sort of sitting duck kind of tanks, especially if Fortify is on cooldown. Now, I guess Reinhardt's in the same boat, but, like, it's just a really fascinating sort of trifecta between those that we're already seeing emerging as a bit of a staple of the current form of 2-2-2 meta. And, look, speaking of cold things and cold ladies and cold places, next map's going to be Volskaya Industries. I've already been to Nepal. These guys have a frosty theme going on.
Chairman Volskaya here as the cold lady.
But I was talking about May, but I mean, sure, if that's your read on Katya Volskaya, it seems a bit rough. You only saw in the one cinematic. Is that really enough time to garner an opinion?
Yes.
Well, fair enough. We also saw only May in that one cinematic, or May only in the one cinematic as well, and I don't know, that is one airheaded gal, I gotta say.
Whoa.
I mean, she forgot about the batteries. I'm just saying, she forgot about the batteries.
Well, she was sleeping for a long time. Easy to forget when you've been on ice for, I don't know how long.
I also quite like how that was her first thought. She's like, I need to climb to the top of that radio tower. How do I do that? I know. Let's invent a whole new weapon.
You got to say that's pretty impressive. She made it out of nothing. She made it out of toothpicks.
It's like Tony Stark built this in a
clips.
cave with a box of scraps. That's how that feels, right? The only difference is May actually built it in a highly advanced scientific facility in Antarctica. A little bit of a different locale, and also a very different kind of hero. I don't know, Frost Lady compared to Iron Man. I don't know.
Just let it go, dude. As we head to...
I get it. Disney movie.
Good. As we head to now, attack for Cyclone coupling. Orisa Hog again, Lee Chang-Su and the Hanzo, the other hero that gets paired up. This is now, when you look at Cyclone coupling's current composition, this is, in some ways, the default composition for 2-2-2 so far.
See the spam. Oh, nice hold hook on
See the ham.
He's able to give them the slip, though, just barely, down to about as low as 20 health there, but Xenofly not going to be quite so lucky, gets demeched, and things slowly but surely start to fall apart here for Global Esports, now losing Luke as well. Cyclone coupling should just be able to walk it in.
Now you see the dam, because we had a lot of people going down here. The dam is busting indeed, all the water's blown out.
The dam, then the edge.
So Cyclone coupling, it's just going to walk on top of this. 2 ticks pretty soon, expecting the third in there, and Global Esports are not going to be able to contest.
They're even struggling to retreat from this point. I mean, I get maybe delaying this for a little bit longer, especially if you're going to struggle to retreat, but it is rough on the whole. This does mean Cyclone coupling are already wheeling towards point B.
And now you see the wham bam, thank you ma'am. 1 attempt for Cyclone coupling, now pushing onto B. Ultimate's coming online, expecting a pretty big snowball
from a few of these members, and as expected, Batiste early ultimate available.
Cyclone coupling just looking to rotate onto this with the tools at their disposal. Amplification matrix should help. That's a successful hold hook onto the racks. And now the amplification matrix looking to be deployed by recall. Getting so much value here. That's
this is too easy.
Well, I mean, they walked it onto A. They're going to walk it onto B, and Global Esports, I don't know, can't keep up somehow. It's only walking pace.
2 ticks gone. Third should be coming online soon. There still is a tempo transcendence available for Sleep, but they might not even need it because they're not losing any members. They're not taking any damage. Global Esports are not here on the defense whatsoever. That is a 1 attempt for the entire 2 points. A double cap. Slight slowdown at the start. I say slight slowdown. That was just because they didn't really push in for a while, but as soon as they got in there, they went on the cap, they got the kills, they walked onto B, did the exact same thing again. 508 is good.
And rumor has it, Global Esports were playing, but that seems to be somewhat unfounded. I don't know, I found no evidence of Global Esports actually being in that game. We're gonna have to see if that changes. I mean, they were utterly non-present. I mean, getting picked off on the defense certainly doesn't help when you're on point A, but then to get completely slam dunked and steamrolled all throughout the entire map, it's like, this is a big shift in momentum compared to Nepal.
So I want to see now on this offense, are they going to be running a similar thing? Because so far on Nepal, they weren't really playing Orisa Hog, whereas as noted, it's been, we talk about, it's not just the Orisa Hog, it's also the Hanzo, it's also the Mei, it's also the Zen and the Batiste as well. The Zen is a little optional there, you could be playing another hero, but realistically it's that 5 core, then another support. Those 6 members in a composition is somewhat of a default for 2-2-2. So if Global Esports want to run something, do they run that? The other option, as we saw in the other quarterfinals, especially if you are attacking, the Diva is still decent because it does allow you to make those rotations happen, but this is different because they're kind of playing 2 flex tanks here. There's no main tank. Luke's going to be on the Roadhog, playing that in the main tank position instead.
Ice wall coming up.
All right, Global Esports.
And not anymore.
Yeah, it's the change. Okie dokie. And it makes more sense.
This is a lot more normal. This is, Orisa Diva is what we did see on Hollywood from the last 2 teams.
Yep.
Faith on the Batiste again.
I do want to see a little bit more out of Faith on this Batiste. We haven't seen him on it for all that long, and it means we don't really have enough time to have seen if he's going to be as impactful as he is on the Lucio.
Well, so far it's been early damage coming through that pushes TOT and Lee Chang soon away, so the main damage dealers had to kind of back out, but as they've rotated, instantly picked up a kill.
Yeah, brilliant sightline, and I mean, that's more damage than you can react to in a short amount of time, unfortunately for Luke. It's not really much you can do about it, so bit of a tough loss there, and Global Esports have to rotate out of that position while they wait for respawns now.
They'll be lucky to not lose anyone here. In fact, they're not really rotating out. A few members are kind of stuck here, so they're going to just chill where they are until the rest of the members come in. But
this is dangerous.
That comes with the added risk of losing more members. It's kind of a difficult choice either way. If you stay, you're in danger. If you try and leave, you're in danger. It's not a good place to be in.
Well, TOT does end up going down, so as they start to come back in, and then Little Rags stuck around while the res was being channeled. There was no need to be there anyway. There was like 3 members of Cyclone coupling.
That's actually a big pick.
That's a really big pickup. Now, that may be enough for Global Esports to start pushing in as Little Rags is respawned.
I think that's true, because Little Rags now comes back on a Tracer. You're going to have 6 pretty quickly. Recalls only come in now.
Again, a bit of a tough loss. The window's starting to close now. I mean, TOT is only just sort of respawning and on his way back. Actually, I say that he's there already. Recall will be able to fly in, so I mean, it's starting to get a little bit dicey. They're fighting TOT, though. They res Xeno flies, so they are in full fighting force here and with a numbers advantage.
And TOT's not coming back, and neither is MG's mech you'd like to expect. Fallen, lucky to stay alive. Their tempo transcendence for sleep. Got to try and keep the team alive, but the damage is just too big.
Yeah, that tempo transcendence did not allow MG to remech, even though he got exceedingly close, even had it up and pressed the go button, but unfortunately, help did not arrive in time. And with that, Global Esports are finally going to break point A, but that took a long time.
And it's not going to be a very good time considering what Cyclone coupling had, but it's still decent. Another thing to remember is we do have the assault changes here, so you only get 3 minutes to push B instead of the usual 4. That means at 4:30 now, you're going to be looking at if you can make this happen.
about a 3-ish kind of minute time bank if Global Esports can make it happen on this particular attempt. But there is going to be Valkyrie and Self-Destruct soon, and Cyclone Coupling can stall this for a while, even if they're in trouble.
This is going to be the attempt, as it were. Self-Destruct laid forward, easily mitigated. Now they're
on the point.
Yeah, exactly. They can sort of use this cover to get to the point itself. Now Cyclone Coupling have to answer that. They have to get onto the point. And this is where Global Esports can start unloading the battery of ultimates that they have here. The Dragon Strike Finding Fallen is already nice value. Also, Tempo Transcendence. And in that time, they've been able to get some good kills. MG will not be getting back in that mech after the Self-Destruct finishes channeling. Also won't kill anyone with the Self-Destruct. And this is going to be a series of unanswered kills in favor of Global Esports, who should, on the back of that, finish the cap.
Cyclone Coupling, unfortunately, just kind of backed out of there. They saw the Self-Destruct come through, and as it was raining, they all took cover under the shelter, and then, I don't know, the Rain Goblins came in on the side of Global Esports. Those things exist. I'm making that up as I go along.
Rain Goblins. That's,
you know what?
Is that a preview for your D&D campaign?
It's, I don't want to give out too many spoilers here, but...
Oh, sorry.
They did the rain chant, and as the storm grew as bigger, you know, as the circle closed, that's a different type of game altogether, not Overwatch, but
oh, right.
Global Esports walked on that point. Kim Tae completely unchallenged on the off angle. You actually saw MG on the Diva towards the side, but wasn't looking at Kim Tae. He was focused on the point, trying to keep members alive there. Losing Fallen early, big problem, because you need to have feet on the point. You need to be contesting at all times. And Kim Tae, again, just kept having shots in there. He got so many kills, got so much damage in there. Dragon Strike as well, cutting the team off. That was what actually got Fallen down in the first place. And then afterwards, I mean, that defense on B was about as uneventful from the perspective of the defenders as it was for Global Esports on their own defense on B.
So here's where Global Esports have a real opportunity to start making up for how that defense went in their initial phase. They attack again here because they have the smaller time. They're looking to fully cap out here. That gives them the most opportunities to have a good defense and full hold Cyclone Coupling somewhere on the map.
So just deciding what kind of offense they want to run with here. Lorax thought about the Junkrat, but that's not really what you want to be seeing. EMP makes, or rather Sombra makes a lot more sense. As Cyclone Company got to go for, once again, the double sniper defense, which was, I want to say, pretty effective. And yeah, they took a decent amount of damage, but they actually got the kills. Lee Chang-soon and TOT never really went down often early. They often did get a decent amount of picks. It took Global Esports a few minutes to even get past A because of that.
I just want to say, Cyclone Coupling have a great comp here for spy checking. You've got the Sonic Arrow from TOT, you've got MG on the Diva to help with it, and then when Infrasight comes up, it is going to completely expose Little Rax. So there's a window here before that specific ultimate is available, but even then Little Rax is going to be under a lot of pressure to get much value on the Sombra.
I was going to say, it's going to take a while for the EMP to kind of be relevant. You're waiting for this one big push, and if you're in time bank, if you're just capping A, that's acceptable, but if you have to do 2 caps here, it's going to take too long. TOT now getting Fort Luke as well slows things down even further for Global Esports.
And they're just taking so much spam in the rotation. They decided to commit to this fight, and I think it was partially because Xenoflight, D-mech as he was nearly back in the mech, but I mean, that decision is folly. All they're doing is allowing the fight to extend longer and still lose it. They don't have that sort of time to work with.
And I think, okay, if TOT doesn't get resurrected here, it's a lot more... it's a lot better for Global Esports in a way, but now Cyclone Company going to have all 6 back pretty soon. MG's going to fly back to the point. TOT stayed alive despite being on super low health. And Global Esports are going to be running out of time pretty shortly, and this is why it's dangerous, because Cyclone Coupling, even on their original A defense, got so much done off double sniper. Global Esports, again, just took so long to cap here, and now it looks like we're going to be repeating that.
That's not what they want. That's not the sort of result they're after. If Cyclone Coupling were still end up fully holding Global Esports, then not only is their best result a tie, which isn't terrible, but they're unlikely to get it. 5 minutes is a lot of time for Cyclone Coupling.
See if the strike can do anything here as MG gets super low.
That's a really important pick there for Kim Tae, and they are able to finish off MG's mech as well. Now pushing out onto the bulk of the point sleep. With that Transcendence keeps the team in it as the pressure is mounting, and
trades
at
are
that
good.
time, they're able to push back. Global Esports starting so well, but a great Transcendence from Sleep kept Cyclone Coupling in it.
And now we're really getting to the danger zone here. Global Esports have 1 minute to cap, and if they don't get a single tick, their best result will be a draw. And for Cyclone Coupling, this will put them on the board if they can secure this one, push successfully 1-1 again in the quarterfinals. And Global Esports, they're meant to be the favorites so far in this matchup, but they're really struggling hard on Volskaya. Kim Butte is now going to go on to the Sombra, so after abandoning the Sombra strategy, they're going to go back onto this one. The real big problem is, in 30 seconds, you're unlikely to get an EMP.
Struggling on Volskaya, and let's be clear, Nepal was no cakewalk either. We're seeing the bones of a very competitive series, but Little Rax getting the wraparound on
This could be the push now.
Yeah, Lee Chang's soon down as well, means Recall cannot res both. MG's going to toss out the self-destruct, hope that it gets something done. It does not. He will at least survive, but that's a brilliant stick from Little Rax. That is absolutely gorgeous, and with that, Cyclone Coupling are going to collapse on the point. So Global Esports aren't going to be in too dire a situation on their defense. They at least have a shot here at B as well.
And I'll tell you what, the two most problematic members for Global Esports to get past have been TOT and Lee Chang Soon on that double sniper. But if they go down first, especially if Recall's nowhere near them to get a res, and they were so far off to the edge, that's the main problem taken care of. That's Global Esports opening up that point A cap. Things are a lot better here. 15 seconds, though, is still not comfortable for doing anything on B.
Also, Faith's going to swap to the Brigida. Not sure how
Sleep
I feel
as well.
about this. Yeah, it's peak potential. I'll give them that, especially with those more mobile flankers. Both teams are running a Tracer and a Sombra, but I almost want to see Pixie here. Gives you longevity. That's going to be an early nano boost committed out. Xeon Flux had to throw it out before he died. They need to get onto this point. Ooh, that bump off of Luke nearly.
Bring solo healer. I don't know about this.
This is really dire here for Global Esports. If they get the kills, then it won't matter when all is said and done, but they're struggling to get the kills. Cyclone Coupling, so many hacks, so much crowd control, so much area control, and also getting the damage, getting the kills. Sleep will eventually go down, but with Recall still in the mix with the Valkyrie running, still with the healing going out.
Hero team,
nearly down to the wire. Xeon Flux able to rush back in on the Lucio. They're surviving this EMP right now, and Faith is going to run down Recall. Faith on the Brigida has done so much work while Global Esports have hemorrhaged members. I can't believe that this has worked.
They've done the impossible here. Global Esports double capping. Amazing. Cyclone Coupling just fell off the cliff on that B defense once again. Seems like whenever we get to B, both teams just are not able to mount much of a defense going on there. And that was, again, 15 seconds to cap it through. Overtime does kick in. You all say, okay, that's going to delay the respawns for both ends, so whoever does get a few picks here is going to really start to come out ahead. You understand why the Brigade is going to come out, because it's Tracer Sombra on both ends. And then Xeon Flux goes down, and you're thinking this is bad news for Global Esports. You're doing a Brigida-only support now. That is the only source of healing available. However, the thing to remember is, because you're still running Tracer Sombra, and you're doing a Wrecking Ball, and you're doing a Diva, those members are mobile enough that they don't need pocket healing. They can run for health packs, they can be annoying on flanks, they can mitigate a lot of their own damage. So actually, they're not running the type of composition that's going to be too critical for healing, especially pocket healing. And Global Esports kind of get away with it when they find the necessary picks. Faith gets damage in, he finds the kills as well, he's effective. Brigida still has 500 shield here. It's not PTR, guys. So Global Esports, they find the opportunities, they capitalize, and that is a double cap once again. Pushes us into another potential time bank.
I mean, it's really huge for them as well. It not only does that, it also gives them a big opportunity to win here. If they become the first of these two teams to actually successfully mount a defense on B, then they just walk away with a win here. They don't have to worry about draws. They better yet don't have to worry about going to time bank and losing.
And I think Cyclone Company are kicking themselves right now because they could have fully held A and we wouldn't be in this position. We'd be on the victory push for Cyclone Coupling and then on our way to a 1-1 scoreline in Cyclone Coupling. That could still happen, but now it's made so much more difficult. Their A push has to be immaculate and they need some time going into B as well.
Once again, we are seeing Cyclone Coupling generally get the better end of these spam trades, but this time at least no one died early for Global Esports. Now they're starting to get some good firing lines, especially onto these tanks.
We saw Lil Rex have a lot of impact on Tracer. Can he get the same thing done on a Hanzo, especially when you saw how much both Lee Chang-Soo and TRT did on that defense playing double sniper. Now on the offense, Lee Chang-Soo can still be quite deadly as he looks for the 1v1.
Wrinkle's already got the amplification matrix as well. massively ahead of Faith in terms of that. They haven't got too much out of it just yet, though.
Already a blizzard.
Down. That's really big here on the defense for Kim Butte. That freezes up all these members. They don't care about the immortality field. They will gladly collect their kills.
And better yet, they're going to be charging up the rest of their ultimates. Faith is going to have the amplification matrix already, but look at everybody else. You're in the 90s. The only members that's not really close yet is Xenofly on 68. Everybody else is going to have something by the next engagement. For Cyclone Coupling, not quite yet. There is going to be a Dragon Strike, can be countered out by an Immortality Field, or better yet, even a Transcendence if you want to go that far. Global Esports should be now in the position to shave another minute or two off the clock.
Cyclone Coupling. They will have some ultimates coming into this, and also compliments to Recall. Nearly has another amplification matrix, and he will have it in this fight. That is doubling Faith's uptime right now. We'll have to see if that's enough for Cyclone Coupling, because Global Esports do still have the advantage.
The other one is going to be TOT with the Blizzard as well, but first you've got to survive against this Dragon Strike, and they barely do so.
Nicely layered in. It does force the immortality field as well, so that's a big cooldown coming into this fight. Li Chang-soon going to toss his own Dragon Strike out and not really getting the same kind of value. They do actually get Transcendence here out of Xeon Flux, unfortunately for Global Esports, who also commit a Supercharger. Oh, that's a big pick. If it hadn't been for that, Cyclone Coupling could have actually just waited out those ultimates.
I think you can still afford to wait for Li Chang-soon for now. You can't wait for too long because there is going to be more ultimates coming online for Global Esports. They've also spent a few. TOT will be looking for that Blizzard opportunity. There was nothing.
Yeah, still kind of fishing for a pick. TOT landed in some hot water.
Fishing?
Didn't end up getting back out of the hot water. MG actually ends up going down in the end of that. Sort of the hunter becoming the hunted there after that hook connected. And this is a really big one here for Global Esports to push Cyclone Coupling back. And a lot of that was just a trickle of picks until suddenly it exploded into a numbers advantage, reaching its logical conclusion.
And this feels awful because Cyclone Coupling are sitting on 5 ultimates now. Li Chang-soon freshly swapping onto a fire as well, so he's obviously going to be on 0. Recall joining him in that fact. So now 4 ultimates, but the point is, they were coming online with a lot of stuff. If you didn't lose Li Chang-soon on the Hanzo during that kind of phase where you're waiting for ultimates from Global Esports as well, you would have had advantage. You would have pushed in and probably capped. Now you're working on the point again, and both teams are even. It's 4 aside.
I do at least like the change here, but TOT has to go cubicle there. Faith gets down early. That could really help out Cyclone Coupling here. The Dragon Strike doesn't get too much done either. TOT staying alive. Self-destruct also won't get anything done. Cyclone Coupling are low, but they're not actually dead, and that's critical, but they're also not really having many opportunities to heal up MG Fallen or TOT.
One less ultimate.
They can only pick 2 of them. They only have 2 healers, and that means one of them inevitably goes down, and like you said, unfortunately, it is the one with an ultimate available. Now Global Esports leaning into what they have banked up, starting to get these kills coming through again, and will be able to start charging other ultimates off those kills once again.
And one of the first players you killed was Faith as well. You lose amplification matrix there. 6v5 for Cyclone Coupling. Both Blizzards gets thrown in there, so again, the double trouble, the double cold, whatever you like to call it, and that happens. No one goes down in there. Nothing really happens from the Dragon Strike either. Cyclone Coupling, after losing MG, that's probably the main one you have a problem with, because you do want to see the whole hog come through.
It's a little bit brutal here. Cyclone Coupling are going to wait it out, though, once again, but this time they don't really have that same kind of time to burn. Now as they make the approach to the point, if they lose anyone in this rotation, then that's probably it. They're done so. Whole hog, though. Ooh, Sleeve gets picked off.
Lose someone in rotation.
Comes across. Fallen is too far forward. Cut off from his team by that Dragon Strike, and it allows him to finish him off. 10 seconds left on the clock for Cyclone Coupling. Isn't even enough time for some of these members to finish respawning. Certainly not TOT. Certainly not going to be OT. Certainly going to be Global Esports 2-0 in the series.
Did see a T in there, the other variety in Global Esports. Happy now with the 2-0 on that board. And you got to be pretty unhappy.
Look a little bit something like this, by any chance?
No.
You're referring to?
Close. Just the more offensive kind. That was pretty offensive.
Right, yeah.
I like it though, I think it's funny. But at the same time, a little less funny if you are on the Cyclone Coupling side is the fact that that seemed a lot more winnable for you. Let's be fair. Volskaya, we said, was a struggle for Global Esports for a long time. They didn't look too comfortable on that, and then suddenly Time Bank rolls around. It's a double cap for GE going through. A was really rough for them. They nearly didn't get A at all, and then suddenly TOT Li Chang-soon
out in the middle of nowhere, both get taken down, and those are your two biggest members for getting the damage in. Suddenly B is a bit of a no-show from Cyclone Coupling, and you get to the other side of things, you're expecting at least an A cap, maybe a tick onto A, and then once you really weigh it up, it's like, okay, we'll argue that maybe it should have been a completed hold on A for Cyclone Coupling, but then also they didn't cap it either, so I'm now unsure of whether they would have won Volsky even if they had completed their A defense.
I think there's even a lens we can look at it through, which is what we saw in the time bank was the global esports we should have seen in the main phase on that A defense. And I sort of commented on it like, nobody was particularly present on either side in any phase on the B defense, but Global Esports were also totally not present on the A defense in the initial phase. I think that was the anomaly there, and we saw what Global Esports are actually capable of when we reach Time Bank, and what they're capable of is full holding Cyclone Coupling.
And now you're at a space where it's 2-0 for Global Esports. What could have been a much more competitive series seems to be sliding further and further in favor of who we thought were the favorites anyway. GE are looking pretty right now, and Cyclone Coupling have a lot of work to do during this break. We come back to the conclusion of our second quarter final. Who takes it out? Find out right after this.